Good morning, this is Michael Vanderpool, October 9th, 2016 in Tbilisi, specifically in Vakhe. Vakhe is a part of a district here in Tbilisi, the country of Georgia. I'm at Discovery Cafe. It's about 5:25 a.m. in the morning, just after the elections here, which so far the Georgians that I've talked to in person or over the phone, they think that the results are bullshit. As for me, I bought flight tickets last night before the results, which I first saw through DF Watch News about 2:50 or 2:55 a.m. in the morning. And it's interesting because my booking agent, I gave them specific parameters for my round trip tickets to the United States soon, and it's interesting because the flight path back runs right through Washington DC, and I contemplate if I will request a visit with Senator Roy Blunt's office there or with the senators themselves. As many of you know, I've visited with U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill's office and U.S. Senator Roy Blunt's office in Columbia on the Georgian-American friendship and topics about the Georgian-American partnership in the past couple of years, as well as had fax, telephone, and email correspondence with those offices. Recently, more so, U.S. Senator Roy Blunt's office. So, in any case, there will be two different cities, two different countries that I will see in Europe briefly on lengthy layovers back to the United States. We've got a 2-week family building project, steel frame building project. We've also got an experienced expert and professional that likely we are going to have on site to be there if we have any questions or need any help with that. But we expect to have a very large size building up within 2 weeks there in the United States. But a friend of mine here with very excellent contacts both in the Georgian security structures and also in Europe had given me information to indicate the great probability or possibility of a second election or second vote, a recount of the results. U.S. Congressman Steve Russell, Republican, Oklahoma, who addressed the House floor and called upon the United States President and the U.S. State Department on April 21st, 2016 to monitor the Georgian elections and also upon the Georgian people to lance the political dragon that is here, and also that they other concerns about the oligarch Bidzina Ivanishvili. Congressman Steve Russell was actually here. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he met with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. You can see that on the Ministry of Internal Affairs Georgia website, photos and some mention in their news about his visit with them. But the Georgian Dream Party, which is the current party in power in the Georgian government, according to Rostovi 2 TV news and my Georgian friends, Georgian Dream refused to meet with U.S. Congressman Steve Russell, Republican. So I think that that's kind of a spit in the face of the American people. Americans give the country of Georgia millions of dollars in U.S. aid money and have given over $3 billion in U.S. aid money to the country of Georgia since 1991. The Georgian people receive U.S. aid money per capita, more money per person per capita, more than any other country in the world, with the exception of the country of Israel. Now that's a profound thought, because in Georgia, the population in country right now of the Georgian people is maybe 3.7 million. So somewhere's maybe between 3 and 4 million people. But they still have and suffer a poverty level on the level of an African nation. No offense against Africa or African nations or African people, but it is to relate to the Americans that this video is mainly directed to, that the situation with poverty here is rather extreme. The average medical doctor, if they're lucky to have employment in the country of Georgia, might earn 175 US dollars a month. Now, if you're American, British, or Australian, or European, and you're watching this, you ask yourselves how in the hell you're going to live on $175 a month if you're among that 60 or 40% that even have the fortune of having employment at a normal wage here in the country of Georgia. But yet, it is said by dfwatch.net, DF Watch News, that the real power behind this government, also echoing and restating what the former Georgian Defense Minister Irakli Alessania has said, that the so-called godfather of the current government is Bidzina Ivanishvili. So anyway, I've got my flight tickets. I'll be in 2 European cities. One's going to be quite exciting. Then I'll be back in the United States, and the all-time favorite booking company that I used made sure, coincidence or not, that I got a flight path out through Washington, D.C. on the way back over. So I always have the option to, especially with Lufthansa, who I'm flying with, and United Express, but mainly it's Lufthansa, which of course means I'll have a stopover in Germany and one other European city this time, another country as well. And I can always make a change in the flight schedule. But right now, before the election results last night, the tickets were purchased, and I'm on my way back to the United States of America after 2 lengthy layovers in Europe to spend time in 2 different countries there. And then after that, on the way back over to Tbilisi, if I keep the route and do indeed return to Tbilisi as currently scheduled, and the tickets are booked and purchased to do so, that runs right through Washington, D.C., and I'm contemplating whether I will visit or request to visit U.S. Congress or U.S. Senators on the way. And I don't know if U.S. Congressman Steve Russell is still in town or not. But in any case, the word on the ground here is just talking to normal, everyday Georgians, and also a Georgian friend that's very well connected to the security structures here, and also authorities from Europe that are here to monitor the elections. Actually, they believe that the election results are bullshit. Thanks, friends, and thanks for watching. Be sure to pass this around. I've been banned on Facebook for another 2 days. It was 3 days total because of the false allegation of nudity in photo sets from the Okrakana restaurant, and it was just photos of like pet dog, or not a pet dog, but the dog there that had puppies under the one of the gazebos where where you sit down and eat, wooden gazebo, and then the other was just of the food in the place, maybe that was obscene to the people here who live on an African level of poverty, African nation. And again, no offense against African people or African nations. It's just that my people, we grew up with television advertisements and commercials about the poverty there. And Georgia, the majority of Georgians live in this level of poverty. And it shouldn't be. If you do the math, if there wasn't so much corruption, the math would, and so much arrogance and non-caring by this government, the real government, or the godfather of this government, there is no excuse for the kind of poverty that exists in this country. So anyway, I want to make that point. I want to make that clear. I'm confident that the Georgian people want and deserve real and authentic independence. And unlike the so-called Georgian security expert that I talked to, Artur, who told me he was going to Washington the next day after our meeting, which I think he was full of shit. I don't think he ever went. I have tickets now, purchased, bought, paid for, and scheduled on a round trip that, if I keep them and don't delay or change my mind, bring me right through Washington with the option to request a meeting with my senators. Have a nice day, friends, and enjoy the news. The word on the ground here is in Georgia that the election results, the people don't buy it. They believe it's bullshit. It's Michael Vanderpool, Latte Discovery Cafe, about 5:30 in the morning.